Sudan's conflict's described as the war the world forgot. Civilians caught up in the country's civil war have shared graphic accounts to the BBC of rape, ethnic violence and street executions at the hands of the paramilitary group, the RSF. We'll shortly show you some first-hand testimonies. But before that, top United Nations officials met today, saying the war has plunged the country into one of the worst humanitarian nightmares in recent history. The UN Special Rapporteur spoke to the BBC earlier and gave us this assessment.
That it is the largest as well as the fastest displacement crisis in the world today. The needs are staggering and they continue to rise. And all the positive indicators, food security, access to healthcare, reproductive health, we see these rapidly declining. And what we see are negative indicators, malnutrition, child protection issues, access to health, and rising food insecurity. These negative indicators on the rise.
Since April last year, Sudan's been torn apart by fighting between these two men. One heads up the country's military, General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, and the other is his former ally, General Mohammed Hamdan Daglo. He leads a paramilitary group, as we mentioned before. It's called the Rapid Support Forces, or the RSF, and together they took power in 2019. But the power sharing agreement that's resulted has now broken down, and it's led to fierce fighting. Now, within Sudan lies another humanitarian crisis in the western region of Darfur, where the RSF is accused of targeting and killing non-Arabs, and there have been reports of hundreds of deaths. The RSF have repeatedly denied any involvement in the violence in the region, and they've called for an independent international investigation. The UN says that with 8.1 million people forcibly displaced and tens of thousands killed, these could trigger the world's largest hunger crisis. Well, the BBC's uncovered harrowing evidence of the violence experienced by women in that ongoing conflict in Sudan. The BBC's Mercy Juma reports from the Chad-Sudan border in Adre, and there's a warning that some viewers may find details in this report distressing.
Yesterday, 19-year-old Amina found out that she is pregnant. Within minutes, she will begin an abortion, desperately hoping that her family never knows.
It happened in Sudan. I'm not married and I was a virgin, except for the incident that happened.
This young woman, whose name we have changed, was trying to flee fighting in her hometown when she was captured, held for a day and repeatedly raped.
I didn't tell anyone, and I don't think anyone knows.
The UN says the sexual violence experienced by women like Amina is a defining characteristic of the conflict in Sudan and has been used as a weapon of war. Amina is one of more than 600,000 people who have fled Sudan for camps like this one in neighboring Chad. She was helped by the international charity Médecins Sans Frontières. But other voluntary groups have also sprung up to support the large number of women who have been affected by either physical violence or sexual attacks. It's a side of the conflict that's not often seen, but we have been given privileged access to join this group and film a meeting run by Zahra. Mariamu is a former university student who has been speaking to Zahra. She was attacked by armed men in her home in Sudan. When she called for help, they fired a bullet inches away from her mother as she tried to stop what was happening.
Zahara spends time with me at home. She talks to me. She says what happened to you happened to a lot of people, and you must be strong and positive.
Women have been victims of violence across Sudan during the civil war. The fighting has also seen a resurgence of a bloody ethnic conflict. 20 years ago, the UN says 300,000 members of the Black African community were killed in the Darfur region amidst accusations of genocide. Much of the violence against women in Sudan during the current conflict has been blamed on the Rapid Support Forces and its allies. In a chilling online video, one prominent member sets out why he feels fighters have the right to assault women.
As for raping or not raping, if we rape your daughter or your girl, it's an eye for an eye. This is our country and this is our right, and we took it.
The Rapid Support Forces told us the majority of accusations against it are untrue, but its troops are held accountable when incidents occur. But Zahra says black African women are being targeted in Darfur.
This is because rape leaves an impact on society and the family. They used it as a weapon of revenge.
With this conflict, cases of sexual violence are widespread. But this is a taboo topic here and comes with a lot of shame and stigma. This means that those who speak out or seek medical attention are only a fraction of those who are affected.
Ordinary women are paying the price for the brutality which has been unleashed by the conflict in Sudan. With no end in sight, many more people could end up suffering in silence. Marcy Juma, BBC News on the Chad-Sudan border.